Okay, and we're back. The morning chill seemed a touch colder today. Alright, I've got a full day ahead of me today, too. Finishing up the preparations for the day, I walked through the door, only to have my cell phone in my breast pocket. Okay, in my chest pocket suddenly rang. Hello? It was Tsubaki. I can't even say the name sometimes, I'm not used to it. There. Ah, it's no problem. Has something happened? I'll try to act like Kyosuke, if that will work. Oh. I pretended to be surprised. There's a lot of pressure. Can you do it by yourself? Okay. I sensed a steeled resolution in Tsubaki's voice. I'm terribly sorry that I can't be with you at times like this. Well, I still have work to do. I'll come right over after finished. Yeah, after I'm finished. I hang up and walk to the door. Oh, it's Mao's turn. Finally. I couldn't contain my amusement. A smile tugged at my lips. Let's enjoy this little game, shall we? Nine o'clock in the morning. Haru's mind was clear as the winter sky.
よーし、椿。一丁我々の友情パワーを犯人に見せつけてやろうじゃないか。
はるちゃん、元気いいね。
お前こそ、ちゃんと身代金持ったか？
Come on, I clicked. Tsubaki was holding the certificates in an envelope, cradling it like a precious child. After waving to Tsubaki's parents, who had walked the pair to the door, the two of them left for the central boulevard. Where did all these people come from? Even at noon on Central Boulevard, this monstrous crowd is out of the ordinary.
ねえ、はるちゃん。
なんだ？
私たちって一緒に行動していいのかな？
Tsubaki's stride was getting heavier by the second. Haru's matched her footsteps, moving in tandem.
ダメだとは言われていない。
In fact, Haru was under the impression that Mao was practically inviting her to participate in the incident.
ただ、私は離れて行動した方がいいとも思う。
Mao had likely anticipated Haru's involvement. If so, then instead of delivering the ransom to Tsubaki, it would be better to try to hide and pounce on Mao at the opportune moment. For example, the best chance of nabbing Mao might come at when his attention is focused on Tsubaki's during the exchange.
どうするの？
To be asked, she must be still worried about going alone.
大丈夫だ。そばにいる。
そう？
ただし、少し距離を置いて、椿を遠目に見守るような形を取らせてもらう。
Tsubaki tilted her head dubiously.
じゃあ、これから私たちはお互いに連絡を取り合えないの？
そうなる。
そっか。
Haru put her hand on Tsubaki's shoulder.
窮地に陥っているようなら、颯爽と助けに行く。
That one sentence made Tsubaki's reflex, if only a little bit. A hint of crimson flashed across her face as she nodded.
最後に、一つだけ聞いておく。
Oh, you can see it. There you go. I didn't even know you could see it. But yes, you can. Alright.
何でも言って。
私は極力犯人を捕まえようとする。だが、万が一取り逃がしてしまった場合、身代金だけは奪われないように動くつもりだ。
そうなの？
Tsubaki frowned again, apprehensive once more. Tsubaki must still want to follow the instructions of the kidnapper and gave him the ransom.
いいか、椿。たとえ犯人に逃げられても、身代金さえ手元にあれば、もう一度交渉のチャンスはつかめる。と思う。
Mao will try to contact the family again and attempt to get the ransom. And after that, a second battle will ensue. This should be true, but a foreboding feeling rigged about Haru's gut. One can claim that Haru's speculations are appropriate, but they make critical assumptions that Mao's goal is to get the ransom. To the best of her knowledge, though, this crime wasn't committed by a person who needs the money. Just how much is 50 million yen in shares to Mao? Still, Haru remains stubbornly convinced that Mao is just trying to provoke her. In Mao's eyes, it might be less of a challenge and more of a game. Whatever the case, if Mao intends to defeat Haru, she must simply have to beat him to the punch. Of course, there's a chance that Mao might kill Hiroki-kun okay, out of retaliation when he realizes his defeat. Haru couldn't tear this unsettling thought from her mind.
はるちゃん、昨日も言ったけど、はるちゃんのいいようにして。
ありがとう。そう言ってくれると思っていた。
He stuck out her tongue.
はるちゃんって不思議な人だね。
I can't tell if that's supposed to be a rude thing or not, sticking out your tongue. I guess it's supposed to be just more like a childish, silly thing, or trying to act cute. I don't know.
なんだ急に。
ドヨーンとしたり、キリッとしたり、一体どれが本当のはるちゃんなの？
そう。
To be looked into by another gave Haru a tingling feeling.
はるちゃんって転校多かったんじゃない？
まあ。
そっか、大変だったね。
As kind as she was, Tsubaki must have realized that Haru probably didn't have that many friends.
おい、椿。私はよく気持ちが悪いと言われる。
Her words seemed to come out of nowhere, shocked Tsubaki wide-eyed.
気持ちが悪かったら、縁を切ってもらって構わないんだぞ。
Haru thought of the past where she promptly hid her loneliness behind a lone wolf attitude and cynical facade. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, however, Tsubaki's response was firm.
悲しいこと言わないで。
Surprised, Haru looked at Tsubaki.
お友達だよ、はるちゃんは。
Just why would you, such a pure girl exist in this world, in real life? Meh. Tsubaki gaze was firm, characteristic, even. Haru decided in the back of her mind to do everything in her power for Tsubaki, no matter what happened. She couldn't understand the reason behind it, and Haru's confusion showed up on her face.
最後に、一つだけ聞きたい。
さっきも最後にって言ってなかったっけ？
これが本当に最後だ。そしてかなり重要なことだ。
うん。
Haru fixed her gaze onto Tsubaki.
椿は、浅井さんのことが好きなのか？
Okay. Tsubaki obviously hadn't expected that as she blushed
どう
red.
なんだ？どうなんだと聞いているんだ。
好きだよ。もちろん、あんなに頼りになる人いないよ。
Okay.
ふーんって。
So her first impression was correct. Haru's emotions grew complicated. On the contrary, Tsubaki's mind seemed to have already cleared up.
何にしても、ありがとう、はるちゃん。ひろあきが帰ってきたら、いっぱいお話ししようね。
Haru nodded. This time, it was Tsubaki's words that helped Haru relax. After all, she just gained an excellent friend. Oh, the music's getting intense. It was already 11. No, it was already 10 past 11. Tsubaki glanced at the clock on Central Boulevard to double check the time. After passing with Haru, she had been on her own, following the kidnapping instructions by herself. It was right after the mall opened, she walked in. Per the criminal's demand, she spent 6,000 yen on a cheap I don't know, case. I have no idea what that is. The ransom with virtually everything the entire family owned was already inside in that briefcase. Becky dialed on the cell phone Haru gave her. It was strong in both battery life and signal.
もしもし。
The call connected quickly. The kidnapper's captivating voice circled around her.
優等生だな、椿は。急いでケースを用意した。デパートの開店は11時だからな。
She had no idea what he was talking about. She had no choice but to rush with her brother's life on the line.
迅速な行動を期待する。
Tsubaki could only give her faint response.
今はセントラル街だな。
はい。
そのまま歩いてオフィス街に来てもらおう。山王物産の本社ビルが見える広い公園があるのはわかるな。
公園のどこに行けばいいんでしょうか。
園内には大きな掲示板がある。そのそばで落ち合おう。
わかりました。
Sometimes I expect them to talk a bit longer.
急げ。
The call was suddenly disconnected. Tsubaki stopped and looked around, searching for Haru. However, sweeping her gaze through the bustling sea of people, she couldn't spot the attention of the grabbing girl. She couldn't spot the attention-grabbing girl. Hair. I don't know. She should... Sorry. She should be following me right now. Tsubaki gripped her briefcase, cutting through the chaotic streets. 30 minutes at the very most. 20 minutes would be enough to reach the from the department store on foot. Even for a girl. It's a bit sexist. Even though I told Tsubaki that we could meet, that we would meet, I have no intentions of fulfilling that promise. I need to confirm one thing before I take the ransom. Whether or not the delivery person is truly obedient to the kidnapper. In other words, I need to determine whether or not she has a sense of responsibility and the stamina required for a successful exchange. And most importantly, whether or not she's connected to the police. So 30 minutes. My gaze followed the minute hand on my watch. I believe that she's still not here within 30 minutes. There's no doubt that the police will be coming with her. If Tsubaki's family just ignored my warnings and called the police, there might be over 100 officers watching Tsubaki deliver the ransom. In order to catch me, countless police officers would have already began setting an I can't even speak. Inescapable net around the park. However, no matter how quickly the task force responds, doing so would still take a considerable amount of time. After all, the police would have to move everyone to Central Boulevard to this park. That wouldn't allow Tsubaki to proceed until they finished organising their members. That's why I'm being so sensitive to time. If I don't spot Tsubaki within 30 minutes, I have no choice to cancel the exchange. Visibility in the park was excellent. If there were any undercover cops about, I might be able to spot them. However, I don't have the confidence to say that I could, say that I could do so with absolute certainty. For instance, if you were to ask me who stands out the most, there are two middle-aged couples A man walking a dog, a man who looks like he's on his way to the office, and a man helping a pregnant woman. There are simply too many suspects. Thus, the least I could do is remember the faces of everyone here. That way, if a person with a familiar face shows up, as I ordered Tsubaki's around, I could determine with high confidence that that person is with the police. I sat on the bench, scanning the area, searching for signs of the law enforcement. I saw Tsubaki. She was sprinting to the billboards with her strength. A girl wearing casual clothes and carrying an attached case is very conspicuous. A person with an overactive imagination sort of says right now, they would think that she was running to deliver a ransom. I checked the time. It's been less than 15 minutes since the last contact. Well then, it's about to issue the next order. However, I need to act under assumption that there are already undercover cops searching the park. If that isn't indeed the case, then I definitely can't call her immediately. The moment Tsubaki picks up, they'll be searching the park frantically for anyone talking on a phone. Before leaving, I took a second to look around. Took it to Tsubaki in the distance. Wow, that's a lot of reading. Even from afar, I could see that she was nervous. She waited for almost an hour. Tsubaki was nearly suffocating from anxiety. Even though she came to the appointed place, not a single person who seemed like the kidnapper had shown up. The only person who have come to talk to her are flirtatious young men, not knowing anything about the situation. The cell phone suddenly rang. The kidnapper was calling.
はい、ちゃんといますよ。
She yelled into the phone. The kidnapper groaned in
少し
I
騒がしい
missed
ぞ
that.
椿大声を出すな周りの人間に不審に思われるだろうただでさえアタッシュケースを手に持った格好というのはお前のような少女には不釣り合いなのだからな
すみません
The kidnapper's instructions are what made her stand out so badly, but she kept this thought to herself out of fear.
それでこのケースはどうすればいいんでしょうか
大事に持っておけ予定変更だ受け渡し場所を変更する
Tsubaki was lost. She searched for Haru without thinking, but she couldn't even find a thread of her being tired. I'm
セ
pretty
ントラ
sure
ル
you
街
guys
の駅に行け
wanted to know
改
that.
札の近くにロッカールームがある使用禁止の紙が貼られたコインロッカーを探せ
待ってください今書き留めます
I don't think there's ever a dub visual novel. That'd be a little bit easier as well. At least then I wouldn't have to like scan through the text. Yeah. Lodging the cell between her head and her shoulder, she used her free hands to open her diary.
ロッカーの中に身代金の詰まったケースを入れて鍵をしろ
使用禁止じゃないんですか
安心しろ実はちゃんと使える
The warning was probably prepared him beforehand. I can't even speak now. The warning was probably prepared by him beforehand. Becky waited for her next instruction.
ロッカーの鍵をしっかりとかけたら次にその鍵を持って電車に乗れ行き先は終点の桜扇町だ
桜扇町
At the final stop of the line, in the next prefecture. From such a boulevard, the trip would take about 2 hours. Just what is he planning to have me do? Calling me out that
向
far.
こうの駅に着いたら改札を出たあたりで待て
また連絡をもらえるんですか
いいよお前から連絡してこい
わかりました次こそ会えるんですよね
椿がいい子にしていたらな
I used a I don't even know what that is. Vervilos tone? I don't know what that is. I apologize. He's probably just messing with her. Tsubaki unrealized emotions are raising and crashing inside her chest, waiting to explode at the light's touch.
あなたの言うことは守ります。だから、絶対に弟を返してください。
Flames of anger began to swell within the girl. Yet, even with Tsubaki in the state, the kidnapper spoke to her in a mocking tone.
返さなかったらどうする？
許さない。
She herself was surprised at the strength and harshness in her words. An unbearable silence followed. Terror attacked her. She may have angered the kidnapper. An inappropriate provocation may bring disaster upon Haruki. If that truly happened, how could she possibly endure the knowledge that she was responsible? The criminal spoke quietly.
私がお前を人間にしてやる。
His words only confused her. Just as she was about to ask, the connection was cut into a human. Does that have something to do with the philosophical meaning? She's never been good at understanding his meaning. And besides, it's natural for her not to understand the ideas of evildoers, of a man who kidnapped a child. She collected her feelings and walked to the station. As she was waiting for the light to change, someone spoke out to her.
椿、そのまま聞け。
Tsubaki had no idea when she had appeared, but Haru was standing by the side of her. She spoke to Tsubaki, keeping her eyes straight ahead, rather than looking at her.
お前は犯人の指示をメモに取っているな。
日記に。
じゃあそのページだけ破って、歩きながらそれとなく捨ててくれ。
わかったよ。
The light turned green. People began surging forward. Once she got to the other end of the crossroad, Tsubaki looked behind her. Haru was already nowhere to be seen. Even now, Tsubaki had a sense of resistance to littering. But when she realized that Haru would pick it up immediately, she felt a little better about it. Typical. 2 hours and 10 minutes passed. If one hurried, they would be able to get there. They should have been able to get there from the park to Sakagori G City in 2 hours. If it takes Tsubaki any longer, there is again the possibility of police involvement. I, of course, am still on Central Boulevard. After finishing all my preparations, I sat in the back seat of a car and gazed out at the scenery outside. The populace ignored the cruelty of the winter's cold. Okay, I don't even know anymore. And the streets grew even livelier. A panicked voice came through the other end of the line.
もしもし。
Are you there?
はい。どこに行けばいいんですか？
I hope you didn't lose the key.
ちゃんと持ってます。どうすればいいんですか？
I gave her the instructions decided upon a long time ago. Come back. Ignoring Tsubaki, who was in utterly morbid state, I continued. Come back and retrieve the briefcase from the locker.
どうしてですか？
There's no reason for me to explain.
だって何のためにこんな遠くまで。
To get the ransom, of course.
ひょっとしてまだ警察のことを疑っているんですか？
Who knows?
だったらこんなことは無駄です。本当に警察には連絡してないんですから。
It's just me. It's like it feels like there's two people talking to her at the same time. Well, it seems like it, I suppose. It's clear from her voice that she would like nothing better than to just give me the ransom right this second. There's no police involvement.
はい、絶対です。
There's a reason she had to go to Tombaksu to Sakaguchi City. Police take their respective jurisdictions seriously. If Tsubaki had been backed by the police, then she would be. Then this kidnapping investigation would have transferred to another prefecture. Thus, the arrangements of personnel would be put into disorder once more. Such an event would considerably hinder police mobility in this prefecture. This reading is really annoying, you know. Of course, this is. Oh, wait, I already read that bit. I think so, I don't know. However, the police are people who are very I can't speak now. Conscious of territory. It's not quite a Yakuza level. According to my judgment, the police of Kanbatsu and Sakaguchi City won't rally together just for a kidnapping incident. Still, it's a good thing I didn't send her to Tokyo. That was my original plan. I never would have guessed that this prefecture and the Tokyo Police Department keep an excellent, good relationship. I only found this out a short while ago. That was dangerous. Fine, I believe you. Tsubaki's actions are swift, without hesitation. At the very least, she couldn't have any time to speak now. Come on, game. She shouldn't have had time to be in close contact with police. Next time, I promise. Next time, I will retrieve the ransom. I was finally confident that I had done enough to prelude the police involvement and continued with the battle.
ケースをロッカーから出した後、どこに持っていけばいいんですか?
Take the subway to the residential area in the Southern District.
はい。
I'm going to give you the address you need to go to. Tsubaki confirmed the address after I told her about the details. A white car will pick you up there. Its doors will be unlocked. Take the ransom and sit in the back seat.
それでどうするんですか?
Wait for me to arrive. Are you uneasy? Does the thought of me being in the cramped car alone with me frighten you? I laughed coldly.
何を考えているんですか?
I was hoping to go for a ride. I'm really looking forward to it. I hung up and commanded the driver to go. Ooh, it's getting intense. Wait. After another 2 hours or so, Tsubaki stepped back onto the Central Boulevard. The sun sets early in winter. It was already evening by the time she arrived at the Southern District.
おい、椿。
It was Haru. She had suddenly appeared behind Tsubaki, calling her name. Haru spoke abruptly.
お前が桜扇町に行っている間、私はケースの入ったロッカーをずっと見張っていた。ロッカーを開けようとした不審な人物はいなかった。
そうなんだ。
She didn't go with me to Sakaguchi City.
椿を追うか、ロッカーを見張るか。迷ったが後者を選択した。なぜなら、誘拐犯が鍵を手に入れたとしても、身代金が欲しければ、必ずロッカーを開けなければならないからだ。
Haru's explanation was more than enough to wipe away anxiety in Tsubaki's heart.
もう少し人手があればよかった。
Haru said these words with a hint of loneliness. The moment she finished, she once again disappeared into the sea of people. Tsubaki felt an ache in her heart. Maybe Haru doesn't even have a single friend that she can rely on. Without thinking, she murmured,
お財布。
If Kyosuke was with me, I'm certain I'd have all the courage I'd need. He did. Tsubaki savagely whipped her weak heart for that sentiment. Wishing for a notable thing won't bring her brother back. Her grip on the briefcase tightened as she headed towards the Southern District. She had no idea why she called out Kyosuke's name. Tsubaki has pretty much never been there before, and the Southern District is as a whole, a very quiet residential area. The setting sun has dyed the newly built western houses, and the metal fences surrounding them a bloody red. Tsubaki checked the address again, as she searched for her destination.
あった。
She saw the car. Every single time I try to scratch my forehead, there's more reading. Ugh. It was your everyday white sedan. Tsubaki didn't know what the kidnapper's car would be like. Thankfully, there was only one white car at the designated place. Sit in the back seat. Her heartbeats grew violent. She had never dreamed she'd be going with a ride with the kidnapper. He might even hold her captive. Nevertheless, in the end, she still wanted her brother to be rescued. And for Hiroki, sacrificing herself would be an easy price to pay. Tsubaki walked close to the car, trembling as she rounded the bumper. Hesitantly, she forced herself to peer through the window. There was no one inside. She decisively reached the door handle. I don't know if I said that right or not. Tsubaki slid into the back seat. She put the briefcase containing the ransom onto her knee, letting a deep breath flow from her lips to calm herself. Silence regained. The car was almost completely devoid of sound. Small beads of sweat soaked through her palm. The only noise that would reach her ears was her own heartbeat. The silence only made her wait more torturous. She was being tortured by anxiety. The moment she closed her eyes, Hiroki's face floated before her. Where is he right now? Is he eating well? I just want to hurry up and see him. Hearing the ring of herself, Tsubaki instinctively opened her eyes. She retrieved the cell phone from her pocket in panic.
車の中の居心地はどうだ?
It was a kidnapper.
せっかくのドライブなのに安い車で申し訳ないな。
She didn't understand him. What does it mean? What does it matter how much the car costs? Tsubaki had read in a book before that men put great focus on appearance. To her, it was something incomparable. I don't know. I was reading it too fast. However, at that very instant, the kidnapper suddenly lowered his voice. His voice changed. It lost the ease it once held.
何かあったんですか?
The question wasn't answered. After a brief silence, the call was connected. Yet another unexpected event was hurled towards Tsubaki, still confused by the kidnapper's last words. Someone rapped on the car window. Following the sound, there was a face that Tsubaki had never seen before. It stared her down emotionlessly. I can't even say the word. Emotionlessly. Yeah. I don't know. A hat and uniform. She trembled. Her jaw hung wide open. The one thing that criminals fear the most stood just beyond the car window. Police. Tsubaki sank into terror, having no idea what she should do about the sudden appearance of the police. Her knees were shaking. The police officer was asking her to get out. Her vision was hazy, dizziness dawned at her, and her stomach lurched with every emotion. Tsubaki stepped out like a mindless robot. When she opened the door, she put the briefcase down on the seat almost subconsciously. The man was repeating a question that she didn't know how to answer. Does this car belong to you? Okay, so I guess the car is stolen. Tsubaki was more nervous than she had ever been in her life. As she listened to the policeman's questions, like an uninvolved bystander. What are you doing here? Tsubaki shook her head, making meaningless sounds such as ah and eh. She thought she managed to reply to everything fine. However, the police kept on saying this was the standard procedure, just answer. They also mentioned something about the possibility of the car being stolen and other things along that line. She was completely incoherent. She had never been spoken to by a police officer before. She almost wet herself from fear. Oh, lovely. If the kidnapper saw her with the police, how would she explain? There were two of them, and there were two bicycles. But those are only fleeting images before her eyes. What's that briefcase? One of the police man pointed towards the car behind her. Can we check inside it? The question jerked her slightly back into her senses. A strange sense of purpose began to take hold of her.
目です。
It was as soft as the buzz of a mosquito. Even though her head had lowered, she clearly demonstrated her rejection. She didn't know what would happen, but the policeman in front of her was holding a briefcase.
ダメです。
It was a briefcase with the ransom inside. A briefcase containing her brother's life. If they looked through it, the police would know something about the kidnapping. When this train of thought surged through her mind, fear that she had never been able to see her brother again rushed towards her. The fear purged all reason, and Tsubaki lost track of her own actions. A freakish scream burst through the air. She reached out with her hand, grabbed something as tightly as she could. Her fingertips felt the cool, hard shell of the briefcase. The policeman said something, but Tsubaki never heard a word. She was running. She was facing away from the policeman. A yell for her to stop may have reached her back, but not her brain. Fear. Yet her own legs, as if they didn't belong to her, but some other animal, kept on sprinting. She ran away, wordless, panting, dizzy, almost falling down. She felt as if she too had become a criminal. Driven by the guilt and oxygen deprivation, her tears couldn't be stopped anymore. Oh my god, come on game. Make it fair on me. But there was no time for her to cry anymore.
すみません。
Okay, we're back again. I decided to take a little bit of a break because there's a lot on your throat when reading a lot of stuff. Having success. Oh, hang on, I just remembered something. Before I read that, I turned off the sound. There we go. Having successfully escaped and now making her way through the bustling crowd of Central Boulevard, Tsubaki was still on edge.
すみません。でも逃げましたから。身代金ありますから。
She begged with all that she had. The kidnapper answered with a voice colder than those she had ever heard before.
なぜ謝る？あれはハプニングだったのだろう。
はい、知りません。警察の人がいるなんて知りませんでした。
知らなかったのなら、なぜ謝る必要があるんだ？警察と示し合わせていたのでなければ、頭を下げる理由がわからない。
それは、ただ、なんとなく。
Things don't sound like it's going well. The person on the other end of the line didn't let down his guard.
裏切ったな。
違います。
私をあそこで捕まえる算段だったのだろう。
本当です。信じてください。
もういい。取引は中止だ。
そんな。
She felt as her head had been struck by a blunt object. If this continues, Haruki is gone.
何でもします。何でもしますから、弟には手を出さないで。お願いです。お願い。
By the end of her pleading, she was unable to even form sentences. Her eyes were filled with tears.
そんなに弟が大事か。
もちろんです。
なぜだ。
なぜって家族だから。
At that, the kidnapper laughed coldly.
そうか、家族だからか。そうだな。家族は大切にしなくてはな。
He continued with a mocking tone.
椿はさぞ大切に育てられて清く正しく成長したんだろうな。
どういう意味ですか。
言葉通りの意味だ。お前からにじみ出る善良さが眩しくて仕方がない。
Stucky understood that comment even less. Everyone always says she's a good person. Kyosuke had even joked about it. But isn't everyone else good too?
善良さというものは大抵の場合偽装した悪徳に過ぎないと私は思っているが、どうやら椿は一味違うようだな。
She just couldn't take it anymore.
いいだろう。取引を続ける。
ありがとうございます。
She lowered her head in thanks without even thinking about it. Even in this outrageous situation, she still showed her gratitude to the
も
criminal.
う少し慎重にやらせてもらうとしよう。今後はたとえ警察が絡んでいても身代金を受け取れる手順を踏ませてもらう。
Tsubaki was beginning to think that the kidnapper is still human after all. As long as she just asked him with sincerity, he'll understand. He might even have a good reason for kidnapping Haruki. For the first time, Tsubaki found herself interested in the kidnapper's thoughts and feelings. So interested, in fact, that she completely missed the point when she had to stop and ask questions. The point when she was becoming completely obedient. The sun had set. The young winter wind chilled I don't know, I missed that. I was not really reading it fast. I lean on a railing, continuing my conversation with Tsubaki. After that exchange, I had Tsubaki go to the Western District and a nearby city. There and back. The forms of transport included walking, cable, car, taxi and other methods. As promised, everything was done with utmost care. The area in the Southern District is already in an uproar over Tsubaki. A girl holding a attached case is always very conspicuous. With someone that's suspicious, there's always the possibility that an upstanding citizen might report her. And one I can't say that the police won't contact a suspicious person with a kidnapping. Still, it would be practically impossible for the police both to become certain that the suspicious person is Tsubaki and to find out that she's the victim of a kidnapping all in one single day. I will retrieve the ransom today. I've left no evidence behind. The white car was stolen anyway. Its disposal has always been prepared. It'll be more than a piece of scrap metal in the factory in other prefecture by morning. I don't even know anymore. Sometimes it sounds like I'm talking about gobbledygook as I'm saying some of these things. Oh god. If one was worried about the police finding some trace of evidence from the car, then this crime then this time would be better spent worrying about the possibility of a catastrophe. I can't even spell now. Catastrophic. I can't say it. Leave it. Eruption of Mount Fuji happening at the exactly noon. Yeah. Tomorrow. Almost everything is prepared. The only thing left is Yuzami. She seems to be tailing Tsubaki, only keeping her distance. Even though I've been waiting for Yuzami as I kept track of Tsubaki, I couldn't find her at all. That freakish hair is completely unfit for following people, but that may be more than just a blind spot in this. With hair that long, changing hairstyles is a snap. With a hat and glasses, she can become some completely different person in an instant. Yet, in the end, I will be the one to take the ransom. In the meantime, I'll have to run around and waste their strength. Another headache attacked me, but this time I must endure it. I can't surrender to this headache right now. The depression was fiercely burning inside me, igniting my will to fight. I won't let you interfere, neither you, as I, nor Yuzami. Uh-oh. What's gonna happen next? Come on out, Moau. It's already 8 o'clock. Haru had been running here and there, all across the city, since before noon. Now, after nightfall, she has returned to the park in the eastern district. Haru hid herself in the grass, not to make a single sound, for fear that of being heard over the silence of her surroundings. The park is a place where people come to relax during the day, but at night, it's an eerie quiet remains. She wondered how Tsubaki was holding up after all this walking. Before coming to the park, Tsubaki has been told to take a look at the briefcase and the locker again. Taking only the key, she came to the garage and fine. She came to a garage can in the park. Haru didn't even glance at the locker this time around, and chose to follow Tsubaki instead. If someone wanted to get the ransom, they'd have to take a closer look at the locker. And to open the locker, you need the key. Ugh. And there's even someone watching the locker. Haru had run into Kyosuke on Central Boulevard. After she explained things, Kyosuke was more than happy to help. Even though he said he was helping his father, he had surprising amount of free time. Tsubaki's cell phone rang. Haru concentrated on the noises around her. It would be bad if she showed her face now. She could only follow the situation through sound.
はい。わかりました。
Tsubaki's exhaustion made itself apparent in her voice. It's understandable. She's been in a state of heightened anxiety all day. She had almost fainted when the police had shown up.
鍵をゴミ箱に捨てればいいんですね。
She didn't know whether or not Tsubaki was doing it on purpose, but Tsubaki had repeated the kidnapper's
わ
instructions.
かりました。すぐ行きます。
As Tsubaki finished the conversation, Haru heard the sound of a cell phone closing. Footsteps followed. As the footsteps grew quieter, it seemed that Tsubaki had left the area. Haru remained still, curling her body into a ball. Okay. If she just stayed there, Moau would definitely come to retrieve the key. No, that's wrong. Was she exhausted as well? There's no way Moau would show up. After all, Tsubaki still had the key. She should listen closely all the while. But she didn't hear the sound of Tsubaki dropping anything into the garbage can. Tsubaki said, so I should throw the key in the garbage then. The can. No. However, that was most likely something she just said by chance. If Tsubaki were repeating Mau's instructions intentionally, then she could have supplemented herself to other actions to further detail the situation. She could have thrown the key within I don't even know what it is, excessive noise, I don't know. Or maybe should speak out and confirm that she did so after throwing it in. What's more is if Tsubaki were really repeating his instructions for Haru's sake, then the last thing she said, "I'm on my way," would have been too vague for Haru to determine. Just where just where she would be going. There, words. Moau and Tsubaki conversation was probably something about those lines. So oh god. So I should just throw the key away in the trash can? Whatever. Garbage can? I don't know. No wait, go to Central Boulevard instead. I can understand I'm on my way. Tsubaki had grown even more afraid of Moau after her encounter with the police. She's probably so anxious that her heart is about to explode. In a situation like this, it's easy to imagine that she wouldn't have the energy to concern herself with what Haru's up to. That was a moment that decided everything. Simply, interpreting a sentence incorrectly could have caused her to retire before this ordeal came to its conclusion.
それにしても、いつになったら現れるんだ。
Even as she spoke, Haru felt the time of battle rumbling towards her with impatient force. How many places has she been dragged to now? She'd forgotten how many times she had changed location. Continuously in a state of extreme tension, Tsubaki is puffing with every word. Okay. The kidnapper was on the phone.
もう9時になるか。そろそろ弟たちを寝かしつける時間じゃないか。
次はどこに？
I was wondering if she was going to talk then or not. She just went quiet for a second. Tsubaki asked, breathing hard.
お金は必ず渡しますから、弟を返してください。
God, it's all like
そればかりだ。
chances, really.
ひろあきが帰ってくればそれでいいんです。
だが本当にいいのか？
I wonder what I'd do in this situation. Nope, no.
身代金を渡したりしていいのか？
What are you saying at this point? Tsubaki had already lacks the strength to think things through.
その金は家族の全財産ではないのか？
はい。
金を失えば弟は帰ってくるかもしれんが、お前たちは路頭に迷うことになるのではないか？
弟の命には変えられませんから。
The criminal sighed, impressed.
命は金に換えられないというが、果たして本当にそうなのかな？
当たり前です。お金より大事に決まっているじゃないですか。
そういった決まり文句こそ貧乏を経験したことのない何よりの証拠だと思うがな。
Sure, Tsubaki had never seen her parents worried about being poor. Her family may not be rich, but they're definitely not impoverished. I don't know. I might have said it right, I don't know. The kidnapper kept on repeating the question that she had just couldn't understand. These subjects confused her. Just what do they have to do with the ransom?
早く終わらせませんか？
もう限界か？
いえ、ただいつまで続くのかと。
弟の命がかかっているのに弱音を吐くのか？
God, that's just harsh. In an instant, the flame in Tsubaki's heart burned
違
again.
います。弟に早く会いたいだけです。
Utterly unforgivable, Tsubaki immediately began to doubt herself for feeling such intense hatred for this unforgivable criminal. But the moment that her words had bursted the dam, she couldn't stop.
許さないから。ひろ 明に何かしたら許さないから。
She could not hold herself, she could no longer understand anything. What happened to the self that was worried about the kidnapper's feelings? What would happen if she provoked him again? I just want to see Haruki. That was the only thought in her head. The kidnapper suddenly spoke up.
次が最後の指示だ。今すぐ駅のロッカーからケースを回収しろ。そして9時半までにセントラル街のハンバーガーショップの前まで来い。
There's no longer any time to write it in her diary.
9時半ですか？
It'll be a stretch to make the trip in such a short amount of time.
急げばなんとか間に合う。店の前の歩道にケースを置いてすぐに走り去る。
わかりました。
She could only obey.
以上だ。遅れたら弟の命はない。今度は絶対だ。身代金を確認したら追って連絡する。
This episode is going to be a very long episode. I don't know how long I've been recording altogether. I think the previous one was something like 28 minutes. So this is probably like something like 50, 40 now. The call ended. Tsubaki kept the cell to her ear for a moment longer. She had never thought that paying the ransom would be so exhausting. The kidnapper said that it would be the last place. Up until now, he said that every single time, and it was a lie every single time. Still, this time feels different. She thought of the family waiting for her at home. Her parents are probably worried about her. I'll be back soon. I guess we're as Haru now. Haru chased after Tsubaki with all her strength as she sprinted throughout Central Boulevard. She rushed into the station and retrieved the briefcase. Tsubaki might be tired, but she still moves amazingly quickly. It's like she's using every ounce of her strength remaining in her body. The train station was in chaos. She had no time to look for Kioske, who was supposed to be guarding the locker. Damn it. Haru swept her gaze across the chaotic street. Her line of sight was blocked almost completely. Young people filled the streets like a mudslide. Just how many people had she bumped into already? The shape of Tsubaki's coat would often get swallowed up by the sea of people, momentarily gone without a trace. This is the route Haru usually takes on the way home after work, but this is the first time she'd seen it this crowded. She noticed the reason for this almost immediately.
みんな、私テレビ出るよ。
That explains it. A live television broadcast. Everyone who wanted to see Canon or be on television prepared even closer to the stage. On either side of the road were cars from the station and staff manning equipment. This is the moment Mao was waiting for. It was so chaotic, it was suffocating. Truly an excellent chance of grabbing the ransom.
Tsubaki!
Haru wants to stop Tsubaki to ask her where she's bringing the ransom, but her shouts were lost in the dim of the crowd. Tsubaki didn't have time for questions anyway. Mao was oh my god, must be urging her on. To have Tsubaki at a speed he's never asked of her before meant to Mao, this is the moment where the winner will be decided. If I'm going to act, it has to be now. Haru charged towards Tsubaki. Oh, there we go. Yes, the one that's slightly brighter than everyone else. Tsubaki breathed hard, finally reaching her destination. The music's got intense, it seems. She relentlessly prays. Please don't let it be 9:30. The girl pushed through the sea of people, surging straight towards, knocking into the crowd. People yell and curse at her. She causes a lot of people a lot of trouble. However, she can't spare the time to apologise anymore. She was in a hurry. She even fell down, dropping the briefcase onto the ground. That briefcase more important than a life. She held it tightly as she crossed the delge of people with blinding speed. Tsubaki stopped. She looks around casually. It should see. Oh my god, I can't say anything now. It should be okay to drop it here, right? It wouldn't be picked up by someone who isn't involved, would it? The kidnapper said put it down in the briefcase and run. At that moment, an unbelievable bright voice shot through the crowd of the nearby amplifiers. Oh, there you go then. Tsubaki was speechless, unable to believe her ears. Why is Kanon... It was beyond her comprehension. Still, she heard it clearly. It's 9:30. If I don't drop the briefcase and run, Hiroki is dead. There he is! I spotted him. He's the one on the right. Oh no, he's on the one on the left. Oh no, it's that little child. At that exact moment, Tsubaki sets the... I don't even know what is that word. Attach. That's the only thing I can. That's the only way I can pronounce it. The attache case on the ground and went into action. I walked through the crowd, closing in on the briefcase quickly. I gripped the briefcase tightly. It's been less than 5 seconds since it left its previous owner. Everyone else's eyes are focused on the radiant entrance of the famous figure skater as I Kanon. The confusion is what I wanted. I've been waiting for this, waiting all day to coordinate my retrieval of the ransom with this broadcast. The chaos is what I wanted. Even if the police were right behind me, I would have confidence that I could escape. That would be true for the reason alone. I am simply too familiar with the city. I'll consider my escape route. Izami is simply a girl. What can she do? A shout from behind me penetrated the dim of the spectacle. It was Izami. It seems that she's been closely following Tsubaki. She caught a glimpse of me. Anyway, Izami, just how many people do you think are carrying briefcases in this bustling of people so close to this business district? As expected, no one paid attention to me. Shouting is useless now. I straightened up, walking casually. If there was a thief, they'd be running for their life. No one would think that a kidnapper... No, something's wrong. Along with a shiver down my front, the stage speakers sent a sound up to me. The broadcast could pose a problem. If I face the cameras, there's a chance I'll be on film. If my face surfaces during the piddly little game like this, it may affect my future plans. I want to run right now, but doing so would be like announcing to everyone that I'm a thief. Oh, there's Izami. Oh, there he is. Man, you have to have really good eyes to see that, don't you? It's the one on the left, and she's the one in the middle, if you can't see. Just to help you guys out. I crossed past to someone and took the opportunity to peek behind me. I caught a glimpse of Izami's long hair through the crowd. For just an instant, Haru saw the figure of a man holding a briefcase. That was Moau. She continued to push forward, while trying her hardest to break through the mass of people. The next time she saw Moau, Haru ran straight into someone's arms. After a word of apology, escaped through his side. Okay. With anxiety urging her on, she continued searching for Moau. There. Throughout the wall of men and women and children, Haru could only get a glimpse of a briefcase. She urged forward with all her might, oh my god, in order to break through the barricade of people. Wouldn't you be able to tell it's him from basically his hair? I don't think you see many people, actually no, you might see there's quite a lot of people with that same hairstyle. I don't know. The distance between them didn't decrease. Haru held out her hand in the crowd and tide of passerbys. Just a little further, just a bit further, and I'll catch you now. I passed the most chaotic of the part of the crowd. Did I successfully lose Yuzami? It's dangerous to turn my head around. There's a chance that my face will be seen. Yuzami might be able to reach me any second now. Should I take a taxi perhaps? But with the traffic in the way right now, no car can take off immediately. No wait, a taxi? I watched the side mirrors mounted on the taxi that lined the street as I walked. I was in luck. The mirrors clearly reflected the uniform and hair of Yuzami, still tailoring me. Did it say tailoring? I don't know. I looked like she was holding something in her hand. She's less than 10 yards away. Yuzami was able to get a lock of me and is in pursuit. I don't want to attract attention, but there's no other choice. I break into a run. Now suddenly took off. Man, they keep switching characters. It's getting confusing. He didn't even turn back. How did he know that she was getting close? Shortly thereafter, Haru saw the taxis drawn about the road and started to lament. Okay. Haru looked at Mao's retreating figure. He was a very tall man. It was very similar to the person she had confronted the last time. The man who called himself Mao. Because his legs were no longer than hers, the distance between them just continued to increase. Yet chasing him was all still quite easy. To run in a crowd such as this means gathering attention. The sounds of people he pushed, the confused starers, all were focused on Mao. While pushing away through the idle bystanders, Haru watched as Mao went inside a coffee shop. This is a lot of stuff to read. Like a rat in a trap, Haru thought. But then, when Haru arrived in front of the store, she cursed her own thoughtlessness. It was a large-scale chain coffee shop. The shop covered a large area, being... oh god, come on. being at the crossing of a major intersection. Of course, there was more than two exits. Even if it was just for a moment, she... oh my god. Regretted slowing down. Mao ran intentionally. That must mean he knows the city like the back of his hand. Should someone give chase until the end? Haru asked herself a question that needed no answer. No matter what she wants to catch him, both for Tsubaki and for herself. After passing through the central boulevard, the crowd began to thin out considerably. I turned around and took a few glances. Even though it's hard to see in the nighttime lighting, the sound of people's insults reached me just fine. Looks like Yuzami is still on my tail. She's quite stubborn. Let's get rid of her completely. Jumping over a railing of the sidewalk, I rushed into the road. I ran in front of cars moving at a snail's pace due to the traffic jam and made it to the sidewalk on the other side. The cars letting pause are unending. This should help Yuzami find me more easily. I continued my charge as I turned into a oh my god, a district alley. I don't know, a dark alley. After seeing what awaited me but there, I knew I had already won. The game of tag is now over. I took a handkerchief and covered my fingers, ensuring I wouldn't leave any fingerprints. I think I skipped that accident then. Just how many times had she said that since 1930? Each time she showered in annoying stares and condemnation. Okay. The thing she carried was bulky. Haru glanced around, chasing after Mao's image. Even though she had left extravagant, on the Central Boulevard, it was still very bright out. Hundreds of cars in the street all had lights on, and were very reliable boosts to visibility. The sound of horns rang out throughout the road. Glances over, it seemed that a man who looked like Mao was casually jaywalking. His face was hidden behind the blindingly bright headlight vehicles. He blitzed past. Oh my god, it's getting annoying now. It was regrettable. But there's nothing Haru could do about it. Just like that, Mao turned into an alley behind two buildings. Haru hurriedly pursued him. It was an incredibly narrow alley with a horrible line of sight. Not even two people could walk abreast. Okay? Is he inviting me to follow him? Even though Haru wasn't reluctant, there wasn't much room for her to think. As she gave chase, rushing into the darkness, she felt something weird under her foot. She lost her balance and fell forward to the ground. It was a seal of flesh. Oh my god. I was shocked, and the thing that she stepped on screamed. Oh god. As she calmed down, she realized there was a human leg. Oh, she stepped on a hobo. Ow. She stooped down instinctively. A peculiar, putrid odour filled her nose. A few homeless men sat on the ground. They stared at Haru with lifeless eyes before losing interest again. They seemed to be distracted by something. They were kneeling ferociously behind their hands. It looked as though they were digging as if they were trying to stir the darkened ground. Money? Haru could see a few bills poking out from under their hands. I've already lost, she said to herself, full of regret. She lifted her head and glanced down the other end of the alley. Mao, the enigma whom Haru had a fight nailed to, was nowhere to be seen.
Tsubaki.
A murmur escaped her lips before a wave of exhaustion overcame her. The day-long battle had finally come to an end. In any case, everyone worked very hard. I talked as if nothing happened. Only Tsubaki and her father were in the living room. I'm sorry I wasn't able to I wasn't of any help.
いいの。ありがとう。
I guess we're still as Haru at the moment. Oh no, are we Kyosuke? I don't know. Did you do anything did you do anything that the kidnapper ordered you to do, Tsubaki?
多分、途中でアクシデントもあったけど。
Then the perpetrator should release Hiroki.
そうだった。
I wiped the sweat from my forehead and exhaled deeply. Today's work was insanely busy. I can't believe that I had to run across the entire city. Gonzo really works me hard.
すまないね、浅井君。こんな時間まで。
It's a really I think at the beginning of this, I think we're also supposed to think that the character we are right now is Mao. It's hard to tell. Yeah. Please, don't worry about it. Everyone in the same boat here. I'll try to help as much as I can from now on. From now on, of course, means paperwork. Since the ransom has already been taken, there's no way the Miwa family could possibly pay back 50 million. The moment the time limit is up, the loaner will immediately take the land as collateral.
あとは、はるちゃんか。
What did you say?
はるちゃんが犯人を捕まえてくれているかもしれないの。
Right, Yuzami. That irritating woman. Yuzami is going to catch the kidnapper, she says. Tsubaki, did you ask her to do that?
きっちりお願いしたわけじゃないけど、はるちゃんの好きにしていいって言ったの。
I see. This girl's an idiot. If you're going to rely on someone like Yuzami, you might as well just call the police in the first place. They're many times better than her.
はるちゃん、張り切ってたし、きっと良い結果をもたらしてくれると思うんだ。
She said that, opening her deep eyes. It seemed that these two women had been playing a cute little game of friendship while I was gone. A cute little game of friendship. Anyway, catching the kidnapper would be best. I brushed away a smidgen of worry. When you stop and think about it for a second, there's no way a girl like Yuzami could go up against a kidnapper who abducted a child and demanded a ransom in stock certificates. I say that, and I might just be paranoid, but there does seem to be something about Yuzami hiding under the surface. It'd be problematic to me if the kidnapper didn't successfully get the ransom.
あ、噂をすれば来たんじゃない？
A sound came from the front door.
チワース。
And Yuzami is back, or Haru, whatever you want to call her. I was suddenly faced by a monstrous sight. He really does not like her, does he? Yeah. Yo, Yuzami, why are you sweating so much?
まあ自分、基本走り込みが足らないんで。
Spouting her typical nonsense, she rested against the door frame.
浅井さん、ありがとうございました。ロッカーを見張っててもらいましたよね。
Oh yeah. Oh, there. I can't even speak now. Ah, right. When we met on the street by coincidence, right? The ransom was in the locker, and you told me to guard it.
助かりましたよ、本当。
I didn't see any suspicious people going near it.
そうっすか。お忙しいのに本当恐縮です。
It took around an hour. By Yuzami's request, I stayed near the station locker. There was still some time before my next meeting, so I did her a favor. After organizing my memory, I calmed down. Oh, and Yuzami? She didn't seem all that happy. What happened? Well, I can imagine she didn't catch the culprit at least.
はるちゃん。
Tsubaki gave her hopeful eyes. I don't know where to start, but my palm was full of sweat. Very quickly, Yuzami lowered her head and fronted Tsubaki.
ごめん。犯人には逃げられた。
Yuzami's expression twisted in agony. So she does have an expression like that.
気にしないで。はるちゃんがそばにいてくれてるって思うだけで。いや、あんまりそんな余裕なかったけど、とにかく心強かったよ。
ごめん。
I also put on a most cheerful tone. Now come on, don't beat yourself up over it. Uh-oh. I get that look sometimes from some people. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not everyone's favourite person. Even though I'm funny. Nah. Anyway, back to the thing. Don't want to go out and go into the third wall type thing. Is it the third wall? Fourth wall? I don't know. Fourth wall, wasn't it? Yeah. We did what the kidnapper wanted us to do. We didn't contact the police either. After he gets the ransom, he'll definitely be satisfied and release Hiroki-kun. At that, Yuzami suddenly spoke up.
それはないです。
What? Are you saying that Hiroki isn't going to come back?
はい。
She said it with no sign of hesitation. Why? I don't know. I don't know. We can't guarantee that he'll keep his promise. But why are you so sure of it?
そうだよ。犯人は身代金を受け取ったんだから、あとは信じるしか。
This is a very long part. Wow. I keep saying that. Izami slowly shook her head.
犯人はまだ身代金を手にしていない。
What did you say?
どういうことかな。私、ちゃんと指定通り、ハンバーガーショップの前にケースを置いたよ。
I
他
get
の
it.
誰かが勝手に持ってっちゃったってこと？
I get it. Izami must have swapped it for something. In the face of Tsubaki's questions, Izami just continued to shake her head.
椿、今日の朝、家を出るときに私は言ったよな。最悪の場合、身代金だけは奪われないようにすると。
そうすれば、たとえ犯人に逃げられたとしても、もう一度交渉のチャンスはあるとか。
Izami nodded.
だからそうさせてもらった。
どうやって？
覚えがないか？
何のこと？
Then Izami slowly reached behind her. Opening the half-closed door behind her, she picked something up.
ケース！
So she cut the briefcase with her. Ah, I see. So she did what I said. What? I don't know what to say about that face. Okay. Tsubaki gasped. It wasn't just Tsubaki. Everyone was looking at Izami in awe. I, who debriefed Tsubaki earlier, have already guessed that what stunt Izami pulled. You swapped the cases?
さすが財産です。そうです。混雑したセントラル街で、私は椿にぶつかっていったんです。
Oh, she dropped it, didn't she? And that's probably when it got swapped. Tsubaki seemed to remember.
そういえば、誰かにぶつかって、一度ケースを落として。
その時にすり替えさせてもらった。私が用意していたケースの中身は空だ。
When did you prepare it?
朝一番に、椿がケースを購入した後、同じものを買わせてもらいました。6000円は痛かったですが、それはまあどうでもいいです。
I wonder how much 6,000 yen is actually in pounds or even dollars. What a girl. So the kidnapper took the empty briefcase and got away.
はい。身代金の株券はまだ、このケースの中にあります。
Oh, okay. So that means Izami held this briefcase while chasing the culprit. Suddenly, Tsubaki's father opened his mouth.
それじゃあお金はまだあるんだね。
It looked like he's still not ready to let go of his land. His words carried a trace of happiness.
はるちゃん。そう。
Tsubaki's side moved. I sighed too, but mine held a completely different meaning from Tsubaki's. Yeah, that means today was a
だ
stalemate.
と、いいんですが。
Even though her expression was backed up with confidence, there was a shred of anxiety in her words. Just don't make the kidnapper too
は
angry.
い。それが怖いです。
Is that all you have to say? Do you even realize that Haruki's-kun's life is on the line? Meddling little.
浅井くん、やめて。はるちゃんは良かれと思って。
浅井君の気持ちもありがたいけれど、あの株券も家族の身体がかかった大切なものなんだ。それを守ってくれたのは素直に喜ばしいよ。
Even Tsubaki's father cut in. True. Sorry. I'll just put my laudable persona. I don't know. I don't know. You thought he wouldn't release the hostage, even if he got the ransom, right, Yuzami?
はい。犯人。魔王は、 恐ろしく慎重な人物です。もっと言えば、身代金を渡そうが渡すまいが、人質を返すつもりはないのかもしれません。
Oh, I see. I see how it is then. Since the hostage isn't going to come back, anyway, might as well keep him from getting the ransom, right? I said it mockingly. How logical. You, Izami, are a woman so truly logical that it's frightening. Izami was
宇
silent.
佐美さ、警察を頼らなかった時点で責任は全て僕が持つつもりだよ。
そうだよ。たとえ警察の人がいても、犯人は捕まえられなかったかもしれないんだから。
Ha. I don't like watching scenes like this.
じゃあとりあえず株券を渡してもらおうか。
Tsubaki's father asked Yuzami for his family's savings. Yuzami said that she understood and opened the case. Unimaginable.
どういうことだ。
Uh-oh. Her eyes widened. Yuzami's face was bleached white in an instant. In contrast, a shout of victory welled up in my chest. Oh no. As if there was a demon bearing his fangs beside me, mocking Yuzami. A shocked Yuzami, and Yuzami had been turned to stone, murmured.
ない。
Her face was adorned with a expressionless defeat.
株券が、身代金が消えている。
When were they taken? Then. Oh, well, okay, that's a good place to end it then. Ta-ra then, people.
ちょっと聞いてくれよ、京介ちゃんよ。
No, Ichi or Echi. I am not going to talk to you because I'm ending my video. It's been a very long video. Goodbye.